Greetings, light warriors and cyber wanderers. Today I'm speaking to you directly. I'm sure many of you have heard of or are familiar with the SM64 iceberg. While some range from Reddit debate to mildly interesting, one caught my attention. Mrjeffums is Freemason's initiation, though I think it's more fitting to call it instead a Freemason ritual. Before I get into that, I feel I need to address the questions from sheeple I always get, such as, what terminally online wizard LARPing schizophrenic would believe a video game could be used as a ritual? I'll keep this brief because this is its own topic. We are energy beings, constantly emitting and channeling energy. Be it excitement when we beat a level, or anger when we lose to a boss. This energy can be channeled and directed, even if they are unknowingly participating. As for the mandatory, why would they put their symbolism out there for us to see? Research hidden in plain sight. I'm not going to explain this concept on every post. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Let's start with what many people have already pointed out. The similarities between Peach's Castle and a Freemason Lodge. The game begins in this Masonic hall. There is the checkerboard floor, symbolic of the world of polarized opposites, the physical world on which the ritual is based. There is also a solar disk and red carpets. Also worth noting is that the hall is in 3 layers. In SM64, the coins are actually pentacles. They are the coins from tarot and occult symbolism. In this game, you travel between worlds. In this case, the world of paintings. I'm also going to quickly mention this small room with 2 pillars. The game calls them the pillars. Pillars are symbolic of portals, both literally, i.e. a portal to one room and another, and metaphorically. These are the twin pillars Boaz and Jachin from Solomon's Temple, used in all occult stuff. Checkered floors, pillars, and portals to other worlds. Are you seeing the picture yet? The first map is a trial that winds up a giant mountain. This is an extremely common occult image found, for example, in Rosicrucianism. At the top of this mountain is usually some regal symbol that embodies divinity. The second level is a floating world. Japan has essentially been under nefarious, Illuminati-esque control for some time. Nintendo began as a company that made cards that some used for divination. This floating world symbolism must be viewed in that context. Games are this new world. This is the first level. Mario beats an owl. The owl instructs you to look into his shadow. The owl is probably the most classic secret society symbol. It's on dollar bills in DC layout, associated with Athena, etc. You use this owl to drop Mario into this floating cage, a possible reference to a Skull and Bones ritual. The next level is Jolly Roger Bay, and pirates as a theme are also symbolic. Have you ever wondered why pirate levels are so common in video games? This is because of the Knights Templar, who are one link in the chain of secrets. After the Knights Templar were forced to go underground, their navy went underground as well, and re-emerged as the suddenly ubiquitous Fox Rogue pirate ships. The Jolly Roger flag with the skull and bones is actually the skull of Jacques de Molay and his thigh bones that the other knights failed to find when they came to collect his bones after his execution. This is one reason why pirate stuff is pushed by Hollywood so hard. Games like this will often feature a pirate level for this reason, as an allusion to this. Moving on. Next up is this Snow Mountain level. Just going to cut to the chase. The elite use certain concepts like the popular idea of Antarctica to delude people and keep them in the dark about reality. Antarctica, it's not what most people think. Basically, things like this are mocking you. One of the stars in Cool Mountain requires you to find the missing head of a snowman. This alludes to Osiris, the main mystery Babylon dark religion myth. You will often see allusions to this theme in rituals. Obelisks are the missing phallus of Osiris. To recap, we have been through the Grand Hall, climbed a mountain, and killed a king, and Owl dropped us into a cage. We were submerged in water, and we found a severed head and rebuilt a body. The ritual continues in the basement. In the courtyard is a special niche altar, usually located in a certain cardinal direction set aside from the main temple. He is in the shadow behind the castle, and in the center of this courtyard is this sculpture. The 8 sides lead me to believe it's a baptism fountain, with a star on top of a pyramid with a missing capstone. Pyramid with missing capstone is another Masonic symbol. It can be found on the dollar bill and is alluded to with some buildings. I will touch more on this later. Found in the courtyard is this level. Big Boo's haunt resembles the world of the dead, alluding to how secret societies will have you symbolically killed and reborn into their organization. Often they will lock you in a coffin. There is also an enemy who is a giant eye. Mario can defeat him by running around it in circles. This is alluding to circumambulation, a pagan form of worship, an act where you circle around an idol of worship. Moving on to the lowest part of Peach's castle. The basement holds 3 peculiar levels. What is the first thing you think of when you see the painting, To Lethal Lava Land? This level is full of occult symbolism and is another depiction of the afterlife, i.e. hell. Mr. I is back, as well as this new horned enemy. Mario can jump into a volcano, reenacting another form of ritual. This level also has a part with Bowser's face being rearranged and cut up. This is classic MK Ultra imagery. Fractured and unaligned body imagery indicates a breakdown of the psyche. Perhaps you would have to be crazy to continue the ritual at this point. The next level, Shifting Sand Land, is also packed full of symbolism. The desert in Western occult is the abyss that the adept must cross. It is like the chasm of death. In occult Kabbalah, the path connecting Tiphereth and Kether is Gimel, a camel crossing this abyss. The pyramid is surrounded by 4 obelisks, and there are 2 black cubes. I'm not going to go into any details about the black cube symbolism. This video is already long as fuck. You will have to do your own research. To enter the pyramid, Mario must remove the capstone. In the elite's mythology about themselves, teachers like Plato and Pythagoras went to the pyramids and were initiated into ancient mystery religions. This is part of why they use Egyptian symbolism. The missing capstone is the missing phallus of Osiris. Isis crafted one of gold so she could remake him. This is what the obelisk is in Mystery Babylon and Masonic symbolism. The missing capstone is also this missing piece, the lost word of Freemasonry. When Isis finds this piece, she can conceive her son Horus from the newly remade Osiris. Because this level is behind a hidden wall, It is entirely possible to beat the game not knowing of it, i.e. complete the ritual while not being initiated. The next level, Hazy Maze Cave. Mario was just in the world of the dead. Now he's going into this cave. Another classically symbolic and archetypal place fitting with the death and rebirth theme. To enter the level, you must jump into this pool or portal. It appears to be the same hyperfluid, metallic texture we see on Mario, and he gets the metal cap. To me, it's obviously Quicksilver, also known as Mercury. While physically you wouldn't associate the metal cap with Mercury, but symbolically it makes sense. Mercury is the Kabbalist and occult force that symbolizes navigating between realms and traveling between worlds. It can be found in the 8th realm. Together Hod and Neza form legs that allow us to travel. But the connection to Mercury goes further. The pagan god Mercury, better known as Hermes, is the messenger for the gods and travels between worlds. He is distinctly identified by his Pitassos, a winged hat. The wing cap is clearly a Pitassos. Could it be that we were playing as Hermes the whole time? Going back to Hazy Maze Cave, there are unique doors featuring single large eyes, and part of the labyrinth is full of this hazy yellow smoke, which gives this level its name. Yellow smoke is heavily associated with sulfur, and sulfur is heavily associated with brimstone, as it is the archaic word for sulfur. Sulfur has always been associated with the devil and hell, which stays in theme with the other two levels of the basement. Sulfur's alchemical symbol, the Leviathan's cross, is very popular in the occult world. Sulfur is also symbolic in alchemy as one of the 3 primes, one of 3 substances all things are composed of. Sulfur is the spirit, but more accurately, is the omnipresent spirit of life, an omnipresent potentiality present in the universe. In encoded images, the mushroom was used as a symbol of this omnipresent spirit of life as they seemed to rise from nothing. The last level before entering the higher levels of the castle is Dire Dock. This level is peculiar in that you start floating in the air and are dropped into the water. The level is really oddly designed, so you have to swim under and come up elsewhere. That is the point of this level. It is a form of baptism. Before Mario can reach the higher levels of the castle, he must wash himself clean from death-based rituals in the downstairs. Interestingly, the portal to this level is a wall of water. The game itself has the classic pagan, shamanic, platonic threefold world structure of celestial realm above Earth, then underworld below. Snowman's Land is likely to be your first levels you encounter. After gaining access to the upstairs, the Snowman's Land room is very peculiar. You are forced to look into this mirror and passively interact with Lakitu for the only time in the game, and reminds the player they are being watched. A dramatic ritual does not require observers, but these people believe that the effects can be greatly enhanced when others are involved, even passively as observers. This is the power they seek to harness by encoding these themes into media. Entering this level requires Mario to essentially trust the unseen, and to jump directly into this wall. This time, instead of climbing a mountain, we climb a snowman. They are mocking us. The ice version of the bully enemy could be a reference to some depictions of a frozen-over hell. And while these flower enemies might seem out of place, this is them hinting at the true reality of the Arctic. Tall, Tall Mountain is another level, having us climb to the peak of a mountain. But this time, at the top is a monkey. What does the monkey represent in the modern social consciousness, as in, what do most people think of when they think of a monkey? How does this hook into what we've discussed here? Don't fall into the obvious trap on this one. Wet Dry World is a level that has made many players feel uncomfortable and has this weird motif of flooding and unflooding a city, probably referencing the Great Reset mud flood and lost civilizations. The last level I'm going to talk about is Rainbow Rye, found in the highest part of the castle. This level fully embodies the celestial theme. The last level requires you to ride this rainbow through a floating Masonic castle and also has a flying pirate ship. A few closing remarks. I find it weird that the very last thing you do in a game is find Yoshi on the roof of Peach's castle. I'm pretty sure Yoshi is supposed to resemble a dinosaur, similar to the monkey. Ask yourself what dinosaurs represent in the popular consciousness and how they fit into the themes presented here. Specifically, if you think about how it relates to the floating island idea. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. I think that the secret vanishing spots, as well as the other powers Mario has, are references to the powers we associate with fantasy. The layout of Peach's castle lines up with the common three realms modeled to be a coincidence. As you move up the castle, the levels get brighter and more abstract, while the basement levels are noticeably darker in tone. Even the levels in the main hall are more grounded and based in reality. Also, I don't know if it's one of those once you see it you can't unsee it things, but the amount of checkered floors and red carpets is jarring. Now, I think SM64 is an exception, in that I think it was primarily made with evil interest. The precedent for using a game like this as a dramatic ritual is extremely well documented. For example, in Golden Dawn style magic, which informs basically all modern occult work in some way, they play Rosicrucian chess, or Enochian chess, which is half game, half ritual magic. SM64 was pretty revolutionary for its time, and was one of the first games being made in 3D. Perhaps the powers that be were experimenting. As for the result, who knows? That's more or less everything I got. Roll the outro.
All my diamonds shine, 'cause they really diamonds. Bad bitches in line, they be really trying. They ask me if I'm high, I say really, really. Got money on my mind, I say really, really. I look like I've been ballin', 'cause I'm really ballin'. I wanna apologize, I'm not really sorry. They ask me if I'm lying, I say really, really. I'm really on my mind, I say really, really. Really, really. Make them believe, I made them believe. A little.
With no shoes and nothing. No shoes. Country boy.